Hockey is back. And the NHL on SiriusXM sounds like this.
Score! The captain completes the comeback!
Save! Oh, Ilya Sorokin got a piece of it with his glove. Connor McDavid, his 60th goal!
Hear every NHL game all season long on SiriusXM and the hometown announcers on the SiriusXM app. And talk about the day-to-day drama of the hockey season on NHL Network Radio Channel 91. He's the Mad Dog, and he barks loudest in October.
Postseason baseball, win. That's all that matters. You lose, you go home.
Watch Christopher Russo on High Heat, weekdays at 1 Eastern on MLD Network.
Noble, gone to Del Marte, and this ball is way gone. And here's another shot. This time it's Christian Walker. Gabriel Moreno. It's the next pitch to the moon. There's your fourth home run. The Diamondbacks on the verge of doing something very few expected. The Arizona Diamondbacks sweep the Dodgers and head for the LCS.
Do you lead with a positive we will attitude and have a winning spirit to serve others? Looking to make a difference? It's time to join Paul Davis. For more than 55 years, Paul Davis has been restoring commercial and residential properties damaged by water or fire. We have more than 325 locations across North America. We're growing, and we need you. If you're pursuing your own business built on serving others, or you seek a career where you feel pride in what you do every day, join our team. Go to pauldavis.com/careers and become a difference maker today.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on the projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/football and use code FOOTBALL. That's code FOOTBALL at prizepicks.com/football for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
There you go now.
I think every
Oh, that's nice. There you go now.
I think every
Oh, that's nice.
On the gun, takes the snap, back to pass, looking, going deep down the right side for Hill. Makes the catch, loses the defense, and he is gone. Down the right sideline. Touchdown Miami. Second big play tonight for Hill.
Long pass that lands at the 20. No runners there. Zeros on the clock. It's over. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57. Whatever it takes.
All season long.
The only thing matters is a win. That's it.
The road to Super Bowl 58 is on Westwood One.
Let's go, man.
Now it's time for Thursday Night Football.
The situation is an absolute mess. With a win total of 9.5, I'm hammering the under.
Become a better with Sports Grid Radio, SiriusXM Channel 159, and on the SXM app. To hear Sports Grid Radio on SiriusXM, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go. It's back. And the NHL on SiriusXM sounds like this.
Score! The captain completes the comeback.
Save! Oh, Ilya Sorokin got a piece of it with his glove.
Connor McDavid, his 60th goal!
Hear every NHL game all season long on SiriusXM and the hometown announcers on the SiriusXM app. And talk about the day-to-day drama of the hockey season on NHL Network Radio Channel 91.
Grando Deportes, Bantor, Vini Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and applications that have 29 education. I even said that, but I almost sneezed. If you almost sneezed when you were talking, give that some praise. It's on a beautiful October the 12th in 2023. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them to sit you with a good Lord split you. I love saying what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hello! I keep saying I'm trying to bring the neighborhood together, but people don't like it when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to say you don't mind what time it is. You can always follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can find us on Amazon Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, Good Podcast. You can find us on Geo Savon Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Spotify is amazing what things are doing. YouTube, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Podacy, Podcast in Public, and the one that used to scare me but now it doesn't is allfees.ai. Give that some praise because the robots are trying to take over. My goodness, it's a small world after all. 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 I love that Disneyland sound. All strand on the war. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Give that some praise. I love giving out the PSA that I do for every show of Big C Sports Podcast. And I've been doing it for a long time, and I want to make sure, because it's just so real. It's for the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones. You know, anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. And it's nice having somebody to lean back. I just really do appreciate giving out that PSA for veterans. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. I actually heard a sports show today, and they brought up the word reparations. They only brought it up once. When is it starting? It's a small world after all. 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 I heard someone asking Draymond Green for the Golden State Warriors that if they felt the Sacramento Kings were a rival in Northern California. They're just about 100 miles apart from each other. And ironically, before the Kings came to Sacramento in 1985, I believe, Sacramento Central Valley fans would take a bus to the Bay Area, to Oakland at the time, because they were considered Warrior fans. And now, in Dimdur Hills, when the Kings came and started competing against the Warriors, the fans that used to travel to Oakland to support Golden State, now they love the Kings, and I want to give them some praise so they can maybe light the beam. Light the beam. In fact, I'm asking, when they pass reparations, light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! It's amazing. I might do a countdown. Because I think it's so funny. I'm trying to find other beautiful, intelligent black men that are not afraid to say the word reparations on the air. I see a lot of guys that I know that talk about it behind the scenes, but I wonder what made them so afraid. You say you're real men. They say they're real men, and a lot of these guys are wealthy, but they're afraid to talk about reparations. And we have senators and congressmen and women that are white that are talking about reparations. I'm still trying to find some black men and black women that will support them because it's really baffling to me. I'm going to talk about it again because I don't want to be a sycophant. Sycophant? What's a sycophant? Google it. I don't want to be a sycophant. And I'm telling you, people make it about black and white. I'm finding more white Americans from senators and congressmen and women that are willing to say something on the air that even black men and black women, they're afraid to say. That's baffling to me. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I'm telling you, laughter is good for the soul. And then the commercials are done. My commercials are done up front called pre-roll. Unlike most shows, they do the commercials on an hour show. They may have a pause 4 times with 2 or 3 commercials. Mine go up to the beginning, and I keep going and going and going and going. And something's making me sneeze. It rained the other day in Denver Hills, and I was out walking along the river. And now I got some sneezing in my nose. All's fair, never war. In fact, walking along the river, there were some people that said, be careful, because there's some coyotes back that way, about a half mile. I said, coyotes? I said, how big were they? Anyway, not afraid of coyotes because I had a stick. I don't know if that makes any sense. You see coyote, run! This stick is not going to help a coyote. Anyway, I like doing the commercials. I do the stats provided, even the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. What happened to the Dodgers? Runners on first and third. The count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep. Center field, back to the wall. Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. And the Dodgers, just like that, are eliminated again. Last year it happened when the San Diego Padres got them. This year it happened when the good boys from Arizona knocked the Dodgers and the great Clayton Kershaw out of the playoffs. My goodness. Watch they blame Dave Roberts for Kershaw giving up the home run. It's all fair and never war. You got to give Arizona some praise. They got it done. You also want to give those good boys from Texas, the Texas Rangers, JR, in territory. They decided to tell Baltimore, this is not for you. And I want to congratulate them as well. They advanced. Atlanta's doing their thing. They have a chance to decide what's going to happen with them and the Phillies. But we'll see what happens. Right now, the Phillies will lead in that series. But I'm telling you, the show's uploaded to 29 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. I do it 5 days a week. And then 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And then I never miss a show. Even though I'm trying not to sneeze, I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. And I really do love what I'm doing with Big C Sports. I really, really do appreciate God's favor with that. I get somebody lied. Because last night, I told you I won $1,730,000,000. And then I woke up this morning and I can't find the ticket. I think I went to the restroom in a town down by the Grapevine. I think it's called Fraser Mountain. And I asked some good, I said, can you hold this ticket? I don't want to lose it in the restroom. And when I came out, I couldn't find a ticket. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I wonder if I gave him $1,730,000,000. Don't give somebody a lotto tickets to hold when you got to go to the urinal. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I also want to thank, congratulations, whoever won that money. You just became a bank. $1,730,000,000. And I was saying I won it. Maybe I did win it, but that's a lesson to don't give a stranger danger your ticket when you're going to the men's urinal. Why didn't I just hold it in my hand? I want to thank the Associated Press, J.D. Haar. She did an article on reparations on March 29, 2023. Unlike a lot of our famous sports athletes that are afraid to even say what the white ladies are saying. She called me, asked me my thoughts on reparations. And I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call me? She said, I heard you speak. And I want to get your thoughts on reparations. You know what I said? I said, reparations now, reparations forever. And there are people who are a lot more well-known than I am. And they say nothing. And it's right there with congressmen and congresswomen, and they're trying to pass reparations as we are breathing. Are you ready for the NBA tip-off? And nobody says anything about it. But you got some white people in Congress talking about they want to pass reparations. It's hard to find any black athletes that talk about it. Did they drink some type of Kool-Aid? Did somebody grab them by the stones and say, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. That's crazy. You got some older white ladies that are more brave than some of these big, strong football, basketball players. What a world we live in. If I was a slave, I would have run away. You won't even ask for reparations. You wouldn't have run away. You would have capitulated like you do now. I'm going to talk about the parables in the Bible, the talent, even though I'm about to sneeze, but Matthew 25, 14 through 30. I never would have thought I'd hear the day when I hear older white women that are pro-reparations and willing to put it in print and say it on the air. And the reparations that she's trying to get for descendants of child slavery black Americans. When I see some of our black Americans on television, men and women, they say nothing about honoring their ancestry, their grandparents, their mothers and fathers, the great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents. But then a white lady, she's speaking for them. And they won't even give her praise. So some people that think, oh, this is just about race, I'm telling you, I thought the NBA, and maybe I'm still wrong because they tip off coming up soon, right around the block, even though they've already started preseason. You don't hear any of our young black men. I'm talking about millionaires that will stand up and even say what a congressional and senatorial leaders are saying that happen to be Caucasian. Not everybody white is anti-black. And many of them are pro-reparations, especially the intelligent ones. Now, the dumb ones can't find enough of them, but the smart people, the fair people, you know they're pro-reparations. And I have a hard time finding even black brethren that will say anything about it. Somebody told them, shut up! And they listen. Amazing. It's embarrassing, but it's amazing. Well, you know, I don't want to cause no waves, Curry. I don't want to see what President Abraham Lincoln did. I'm already rich. I don't want to cause no problems, Curry. And you got white women saying we deserve reparations. I'm going to talk about it more because it's weird to me. Now they'll stand in line for Santa Claus. They'll stand in line for Santa Claus and go shopping in their malls. And then the country has some congressional members and some senators saying they are pro-reparations for black Americans. People talk about standing up for Colin Kaepernick. Maybe they're afraid. But come on, I'm asking for a few good, intelligent black men and women too. Sometimes the man won't let you have nothing. Oh, the man not gonna let you have nothing. And then you get a softball. It's put right on your back. She handed the basketball off to you right in the paint. It's a fast break. She put it in your hand, and you say, "Well, I don't want to make a basket because it might make somebody mad." She gave you the football on the 1-yard line, and some people say, "Well, I don't want to score a touchdown because somebody might get mad at me." I'll talk about it more It's amazing when people that are on television selling merchandise, cars, liquor, sandwiches, tennis shoes, they say nothing about what would have benefited their great-grandparents and their great-great-grandparents. They have pictures of their family on a mantle or in a photo album, how much they love them. They love great-grandma, great-grandpa, great-great-grandma, great-great-grandpa. And now you have white ladies that are asking for reparations, and some of our black brethren, they say nothing. It's a shame. It's baffling to me. But I know I'm a little bit different. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force because it's important. They're trying to get reparations passed. I mean, reach out to Senator Warren. Elizabeth Warren, she's a white lady from Massachusetts, and she's pro-reparations, co-sponsor of H.R. 40. And we can't get any of our most well-known black citizens, whether news anchors or athletes or entertainers. They won't talk about it. Why not? Oh, they want you to buy tickets to their concerts. They want you to buy tickets to come see their movies. But it takes a white lady, an older white lady, to speak for them, and they won't even support her. That's a shame. I want to thank California Reparations Task Force. Well, Curry, you asking us to do too much. Honor our ancestry. Honor our great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers. I want to thank California Reparations Task Force, Camila Moore, the chair. She's brilliant. I want to give her some praise. You know, it's amazing. She is a beautiful, intelligent black woman. She's asking for reparations. She's not well known. You can't get some of our most famous black athletes and entertainers to say anything. I want to thank Dr. Amos C. Brown, Vice Chair, California Reparations Task Force. Brilliant, give him praise. An elderly man. He's pro-reparations. Just like Elizabeth Warren. And we can't get our young, beautiful, intelligent black athletes, entertainers, or our news reporters to talk about reparations. Oh, they'll talk about anything else. I want to thank California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's pro-reparations, give him praise. He authored the Ebony Law to help missing black children get help from law enforcement and media. He passed that. He's the one that authored that bill. However, ironically, the people he's trying to get reparations for, they don't even say publicly on the airwaves that they support him. What? He can't even find people to say they support him on the airwaves. A shame. Councilmember Monica Montgomery Steppe, brilliant, give her some praise, part of the task force. Assembly member Reverend Jones Sawyer, he's brilliant. Want to give him praise. Dr. Shell Grills. I'm telling you, there's so many things that I want to just give them all praise for, because we all have our own thoughts and everybody has their own idea about what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And sometimes people are just afraid. I understand when you're afraid of something. I was afraid when someone told me, be careful, there's some coyotes about a half mile up the walkway. I was a little bit afraid. At the same time, I had common sense to turn around and walk away. I didn't walk to it. All's fair in love and war. A friend of mine, we were out walking. It said, we just gotta go the other way. It's all fair in love and war. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder, attorney, part of the Reparations Task Force. She's not afraid. Give her some praise. She's brilliant. We're trying to find some men in the NFL, in the NBA, and WNBA, and Major League Baseball, even hockey. We're trying to find some Hollywood brethren, some entertainers that want you to come to their concert, spend your hard-earned money to come see their movies, to come see their concerts. And they say nothing about reparations. I even saw on the news they had Beyonce and Taylor Swift. They were at a movie theater eating some popcorn as if they were the only ones there. And they don't even talk about reparations. And with their influence, you would think that they would be decent enough to do what Senator Elizabeth Warren's doing. It's not always about buying your music or watching your movies, because it's something that's so powerful that you could be the vanguard as women, one black, one white. You've been made famous by this system of Hollywood entertainment. And you too could speak up to honor black people and even white people, because there were many abolitionists that were white. They were trying to free slaves. Not every white person was evil. It may have appeared that way because all the laws were designed to favor white citizens. But not every white person was evil. Now, there's some evil ones, we know that. But not everyone was evil. And then we get these popped up entertainers, and they say nothing. Come watch me a movie. Come to my concert. And here is beautiful Lisa Holder, attorney. She's trying to get reparations passed for descendants of child slavery, and nobody's going to her concert. We got our money invested in the wrong people. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. Brilliant. I want to give him praise. He's trying to get beautiful, intelligent black men to just do what he's doing. Talk to our senators and congressmen about reparations. At least when you got a microphone in your face. I'm talking about ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, CNN News has been talking about reparations. But why won't people do it? It's the most seminal moment for black Americans. Are they giving some type of warning that you don't talk about things that the Congress wants you to have? Or that Abraham Lincoln wanted for you? I mean, it's bigger than playing with balls. Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, Japanese citizen, Japanese American. He's trying to get reparations. Japanese were interned in internment camps. His family got reparations. He talked about it at a task force. I want to give him some praise. He can't find black men other than Big C Sports to champion what he's pushing for, which is reparations for the descendants of child slavery. You watch when the news starts up and all the sports shows, and they're going to talk about how big, strong, and fast somebody is, but they won't talk about how little their hearts are and how small their courage is. Oh, he's big, strong, and fast, but he got little courage. He got small feet. I want to thank CNN. This is CNN, The Source with Caitlin Collins. Weeknights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sponsors of Big C Sports. I want to thank PNC. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. People got to know that. I want to thank Double O. She sent me this order, Executive Order 13985. She's a chairwoman of the National Black Wall Street Project. And this came out of the White House. It's further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government, called the White House. And she's a beautiful, intelligent black woman. And we can't find hardly anyone that will espouse the same views. They're trying to pass reparations as we are breathing. I want to thank Senator Marco Rubio. He and his colleagues, as well as Vic Scott, they reintroduced the Holocaust Survivors' Rights Bill to make sure Congress passes it. I want to thank Georgetown University for reparations, pledging $1 billion to descendants of child slavery, 272 families that helped build Georgetown. You don't hear about it on ESPN, CNN, Fox Sports, ABC, NBC. They love getting around black athletes so they can worship them. But when it comes to doing something that would pay honor to their families, their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents, their great-great-grandparents, they say nothing. But they'll try to sell you some shoes. They'll sell you some colognes. They even sell you they even sell you gaming. They sell you gaming. They sell all kind of stuff. Cars, vacations, sandwiches, sporting apps. But they won't talk about reparations. It's important. Double O, beautiful, intelligent black woman, chairwoman for the National Black Wall Street Project, sent me an article that came out of the United Nations, which is not a black organization. It's multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic. It says that strong leadership and political will are crucial to reparatory justice for people of African descent. Give that some praise. I think I may have embarrassed myself by saying that the NFL would stand up for it, and some of the more erudite men of the NFL, these black men that talk about wanting equality. If we only get a couple of coaches hired, people will say we need more black coaches. We need better diversity. Can't get the NFLPA to talk about it. They won't talk about reparations. Can't get the NBA Players Association to talk about reparations. All they talk about is end racism. It's like they tacitly consent to the garbage. They have these great slogans, but they're afraid to even support the white people that are saying that black Americans deserve reparations. And that, to me, I feel a bit embarrassed because I thought I wouldn't be the only one. There's still time. So what did Jesse Jackson say? He said, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. I'm going to keep hope alive. And maybe as more white women start saying that black Americans deserve reparations, maybe some of our strong black brethren will start doing it too. As they're playing touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. And some get embarrassed when you say that they deserve reparations and their ancestry never got paid. Oh, they were beaten, they were murdered, they were lynched, they were raped, their children were sold off. You know, if you're a descendant of child slavery and somewhere in your ancestry you had family members that were sold, lynched, murdered, beaten with impunity. And now you have members of the United States Congress that say they deserve reparations. And then we say nothing. I can't say we because I'm not part of that group. But there's some people who are made so wealthy and prominent on television, and they say nothing, but they say they love their ancestry and great-grandma and great-grandpa and great-great-grandma and grandpa with all the hell they went through. And now there are members in Congress that say you guys deserve reparations. And these athletes and these entertainers, they say nothing. Oh, come watch my movie. Come to my concert. Got tonight NFL football, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Denver Broncos. Because I guess we all shut up and dribble. All's fair in love and war. We can do both. Big C does. The Kansas City Chiefs, 4-1. They're a 10.5-point favorite. The over-under is 47. And they host the 1-4 Denver Broncos tonight on Thursday Night Football. And the Chiefs being winners of the past 14 meetings between the AFC West rivals. And what can we expect tonight? Well, from the betting point of view, which a lot of people like to put money on betting, but they don't want to talk reparations yet. They're not brave enough yet. But the Chiefs have won 14 straight meetings against the Broncos outright. They're 9-5. Listen up, bettors, 800 Gambler. They're 9-5 against the spread in that span. Isn't that something? It's amazing. The Chiefs ranked second in pass block, and then the Broncos, their pass rush is 29th. So there's not going to be a lot of sacks against touchdown. There's no place like Mahomes, if that makes sense to you. And then the defense for the Chiefs probably will shine. Russell Wilson, I used to call him Russell Houdini Wilson, but he's been very good throwing the deep ball. And since he came to Denver, even last year, but the Chiefs ranked 6th against the deep passes. So right now, that 10.5-point favorite, I think that Kansas City is going to cover that 10.5. And Las Vegas, but at the same time, Kansas City is the kind of team, they could be up by, again, it's 10.5. They could be up by 10 points. And 1 minute to play, they can have the ball running for a touchdown, and they'll stop at the 1-yard line to cover the spread as opposed to running through the end zone. So maybe they won't cover the spread. When I think about it, Denver's given up at least 30 points 3 times this season in 5 games, and they lead the league in total yards allowed and rushing yards allowed. And now they face touchdown Patrick. There's no place like Mahomes and Isaiah Pacheco on their home field in Kansas City. And Kansas City has not looked as great together offensively as we've seen in the past years. The Chiefs have scored 144 points against the Broncos in the last 5 head-to-head meetings. Over that time period, Kansas City's defense has only allowed 84 points. I think Kansas City covers the spread, but I'll look like a fool if somebody can score a touchdown and they fall down on the 1-yard line with a minute to play up by 10. That might happen. But that's just the way love goes. And maybe one of our great players will talk about reparations. Maybe touchdown Patrick Mahomes will bring it up that descendants of child of slavery deserve reparations. Maybe Russell Houdini Wilson will bring it up that descendants of child of slavery deserve reparations. And maybe the NFL that loves its black athletes so much, maybe they'll put reparations on the back of the end zones and give that some praise. It won't just be Elizabeth Warren. That's my thought. I'm sticking with it. You know, I've got to say this because I think it's so important that I bring it up. Because some people might say, Curry, what do you talk about reparations? I just want to watch a football game. And there's articles out there. You know, you can do both. It says reparations, slavery descendants, and where they stand in the United States Congress. Some of the leading voices on the issue of slavery reparations have an ancestral ties to slaveholding. I talked about it some yesterday. But if Congress is not afraid to talk about reparations, why are some of our athletes? Because the House resolution introduced in May in favor of the idea, it cites estimates from respected economists that reparations to eliminate the racial wealth gap would cost at least $14 trillion. That's what they're saying black Americans were robbed of, $14 trillion by the government in its racist policies. Now, proponents say such payments are meant to help compensate for more than slavery itself. They cite systemic racism. You know, the NFL, it used to say end racism on the back of their end zone. They changed that to make the catch last week. But it cites systemic racism and other forms of discrimination that followed emancipation, that everyone that has a good heart, they want to correct. It's important. And in examining the genealogies of members of the 117th Congress, Reuters found out that at least 100 lawmakers have direct ancestors who enslaved black people in the years before 1865, the end of the United States Civil War. And the Civil War was won by the Union because black soldiers fought. They joined Lincoln. And some have espoused strong positions on reparations. Among them, Louis Gohmert, former United States representative from Texas. He said, I've seen the documents where my great-grandfather signed when he came from Europe in 1870. And he had his own opposition to it. But he's crooked. Not everybody's going to believe in it. Tommy Tuberville, he's anti-reparations. His family owned slaves. He don't want to make everything fair. And then you have John N. Kennedy, senator from Louisiana. He don't want to pay reparations. He said his family got rich from the money and the land. Now, listen up, black men, athletes, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, WNBA. I would have thought it would be a black woman that would stand up and say this. Proponents of reparations, Elizabeth Warren, United States Senator from Massachusetts. I think Jaylen Brown, for the Boston Celtics, he's pro-reparations, and he's trying to bring the National Black Wall Street to Boston. So not everybody's afraid. I appreciate him, but he's a very intelligent man. He's not one of those shucking and jiving guys that just want to wear diamonds. At the same time, Senator Warren, a white lady, she said the legacy of slavery still casts a long shadow over every facet of American life, including Congress. If I could just find a few black men to be as brave as this white lady is, and a few black women to be as brave as this white lady is. Senator Warren, a Massachusetts Democrat, she's a co-sponsor of Senate Bill 40, the Senate Reparations Bill. In an 1848 will, a Warren ancestor named John Crawford bequeathed the 14 men, women, and children enslaved in Dorchester County, Maryland, for 12 of them ranging in age from a 4-month-old infant girl to a 28-year-old woman. The legacy of slavery still casts a long shadow over every facet of American life, including Congress. But we can't get any of our black athletes to talk about it, or white athletes, but especially our black brethren, because reparations have been paid to many groups around the world. But when it comes to descendants of child slavery in America, it's hard to find anyone who's willing to talk about it. If you're afraid, at least support the people who are not afraid. That has to make some sense. If you're a big, strong, intelligent black man and you're athletic and you're rich and you want people to believe that you can sell shoes, and you're afraid to talk about what Congress is trying to do for your ancestry and your children right now, can you at least support the people that are willing to stand up for you? And for the people that tell you don't you dare say nothing, which side are you on? This is a white lady, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts. She said in a statement to Reuters, while we cannot change the past, that she is fighting in the Senate, United States Senate, to address systemic injustices. Through the word, through the deed, through the law and policy. Give her some praise. She's not selling shoes. She's not trying to sell cars or libations like a lot of our Hollywood elite entertainers. But they're afraid. At least support this white lady who's not afraid to defend us. Chris Van Hollen, United States Senator from Maryland. All of us got coaches, they're quiet on reparations. They know white society benefited tremendously, egregiously as it was. They know they benefited. And there's some white people trying to get reparations passed for us. And they're having a hard time finding us outside of Big C Sports who will talk about it. We got many black Americans that have their podcasts now, and all they do is talk about sports. They say nothing about what Congress is trying to do for us in our ancestry right now as we are breathing. I mean, you talk about being, I heard the late, great Zig Ziglar, he talked about someone being a flea trainer. He said you can put fleas in a jar, and they'll try to jump out. But if you put a lid on top of that jar, enough of those fleas will hit their head in that jar, they'll stop jumping so high, you can take the lid off and they won't jump out. Say, why is that, Zig Ziglar? He said because they've been trained to only jump so high. Here we are, October 12th, 2023. NFL Thursday Night Football, kicking off. Kansas City and Denver. A couple of weeks ago, they had end racism on the back of the end zones. And someone in the NFL gave the order to take it off. Take it off! And they took it down and they make the catch. But this white lady, in this Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's still trying to get reparations for the descendants of child slavery. She's white. Oh, are you trying to make it about black and white? She's a white lady. And some of the people she's championing for won't even support her. Oh, they'll sell you some shoes. They'll say come to my concert. They'll say come to my movie. But they won't talk about the biggest sin this country has ever committed. Now, if they go home and someone's broken into their house, they'll call 911. I've been robbed. Can someone please send the police? Well, our ancestors, they were robbed too. And there are people in Congress and the Senate that want to pass reparations as we're watching touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. I know it takes courage, and a lot of people don't have it. They say they do, but they don't. Why not ask the person that told you, shut up? They told you to shut your mouth and don't dare talk about reparations, even though the Senate and Congress trying to give it to us as we're breathing. Look at that person and ask them why they hate you so much. Ask them why they hate your mothers, and they hate your fathers, and they hate your grandparents, and your great-grandparents, and your great-great-grandparents. And then why do you support them? Why do you shut your mouth to the people that tell you, shut up? If you boycotted them, their league would fold. You got all the power. Why would you not support the senators and the congressional people who are trying to get reparations as we are breathing. Are you breathing? But some people are just afraid. Oh, they say they're not afraid. In fact, they talk about it when they're not in front of a microphone. Black and white people. What about our white brethren? The ones who go to church and you want Jesus to save your soul. Confessing Romans 10:9. And you know that slavery was the biggest sin in the United States. The clergy knows it. The Pope knows it. Everybody knows it. So why are we not talking about it? If not now, when? People don't have to like you. But the law is the law. I respect Senator Elizabeth Warren. I respect Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland. He said we have, listen up, clergy. This is for black and white people. We as a country have a moral imperative to confront the legacy and impact of our nation's original sin. And just like those fleas, so many of us are so trained to just play who won the game. Man, can you tell me if we're going to win a championship this year? Do you think this team's going to win the division? Who do you think is going to be the MVP? MVP of what? The MVP of being a coward. And he's a white man. And he's saying we have a moral imperative to confront the legacy and impact of our nation's original sin. Notre Dame is playing USC this Saturday at Notre Dame Stadium. Back in the day when they played Miami, they had a shirt called Catholics versus Convicts. The great Notre Dame. Now here is Notre Dame, this institution will they talk about reparations when the USC game comes to town, or will they avoid it? Well, Notre Dame University, will they talk about reparations? Will they talk about what Senator Elizabeth Warren is talking about? Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. Will they join the California Reparations Task Force? USC is flying out to South Bend, Indiana on chartered airplanes from California, the same state that wants to be the first to pass reparations on a large scale. And all they want to do is play touchdown Trojans. At an institution of higher education, most of their star players are black men. They want NIL, name, image, and likeness. You know who made it possible for them to get paid? California Senator Stephen Bradford. And he's pro-reparations. They talk about NIL, name, image, and likeness, but they won't talk about the man that made it possible. He's also trying to get reparations passed. That's why Big C Sports is not like the others. I see him on TV, it makes my stomach want to throw up. I want to throw up! You guys just arguing and bullshivvying each other. Sucking and jiving. Oh man, you gotta be out your mind. You think this guy's better than that guy? Oh man, you crazy. When I played, you would have done that when I played. They were real men when I played. Talking all that crap and won't even support white women who are pro-reparations. And even white men. I gotta say it again because Chris Van Hollen, United States Senator from Maryland, said we have a moral imperative to confront the legacy and impact of our nation's original sin. Why don't you want to approach it? Black men, black women, white men, white women. If many white people did nothing about reparations, they still have from 1619 to 1865, they benefited from all the racism and Jim Crow and redlining and all that garbage. Criminal justice complex. All that stuff. Separate and unequal. Brown versus Board of Education, Plessy versus Ferguson. They benefited from it whether they're pro or con. But they're trying to throw us a party for black Americans. And many of us won't even show up. Not only would many of us not even show up, many of us won't even say thank you. Well, it's got to be the shoes. I'll sell you some shoes. I want you to come to my concert. I want you to watch my movies. Afraid. But another co-sponsor of the Senate reparations measure, as we are breathing, I'm talking about 2023, people. The knowledge that he has that ancestors that participated in the evil institution of slavery, that even black Americans are afraid to talk about now, it causes him to reflect even more personally about what I've always believed in and acted on, that we have a moral imperative to confront the legacy and impact our nation's original sin with honesty and purposeful action, Van Hollen said in a statement to Reuters. Lloyd Doggett, United States representative from Texas, he says, I reject the efforts of those who would sugarcoat our history. He's among the co-sponsors. He's a white man. And some black athletes and entertainers won't even say what he's saying. He's trying to help us to pay homage to our ancestry and future generations. And he can't even find people that are popped up on television to support him. He's white. He's among the co-sponsors of H.R. 40. He's a Texas Democrat. He understands it. Learning the involvement of his ancestors' involvement over 180 years ago, the pernicious evil of slavery stains his family's history, as it does the history of our great nation. I mean, I can tell you that over and over and over again. That's why Big C Sports are different. Give me some praise. I'm gonna finish for some of you guys now that only want to love sport. You can do both. You can do both, and we should do both. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Major League Baseball. I saw the Dodgers go home. Isn't that something? The Orioles went home. NLDS Game 4 from Citizens Bank Park on Thursday night. The Philadelphia Phillies, they host the Atlanta Braves, and the Phillies have the chance to become the fourth and final team to advance to the LCS with a win, while the Braves, Major League Baseball's best team during the regular season, they need a win to keep their season even alive. Isn't that something? This game's going on in Philly right now as we're breathing. Just 5 teams remain in the 2023 Major League Baseball bracket, as the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Houston Astros both advanced to the LCS round on Wednesday. Arizona and Houston knocked out the Dodgers and the Minnesota Twins after the Rangers took out the Orioles on Tuesday. The All-Texas ALCS gets started Sunday night as the Astros host the Rangers at Minute Maid Park, and I wonder if they'll say we are pro-reparations before the first pitch. It's not too much to ask. We have senators in Congress as we are breathing talking about it. And it's time. The Diamondbacks, they await the winner of the Atlanta Braves and Philadelphia Phillies series after knocking out the National League West champion LA Dodgers with a stunning 3-game sweep. Arizona is in the NLCS for the first time since 2007, and while the Dodgers were ousted in the NLDS for the second year in a row, the 12-team playoff field is down to 5. The Dodgers and Twins and the Orioles, they were sent home in this first round. And the Marlins, Brewers, Blue Jays, and Rays, they were all eliminated from the playoffs in the wild card round. So now it gets down to sphincter tightening time. Sphincter tightening time. Yep. The NLDS, it can last through Saturday if the Braves-Philly goes 5 games, while the ALCS gets started Sunday. And the 2023 Major League Baseball playoffs will last until at least October 31st. And the World Series Game 7 will take place on Saturday, November 4th. Give baseball some praise. Give it some praise for staging a way to get more teams into the playoffs. But I would still want them to talk about reparations because it's on the minds of many senators and congresswomen and women in Washington, D.C. Imagine if they were not afraid. Isn't that something? Just don't be afraid. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love thanking my beautiful family legacy because reparations has always been big in my household. And I'm telling you, from my beautiful mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. My great-granddaddy called him Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player. You know, he did both, sports and politics. Where do you think I get it from? Always known as the real MacGyver, can fix anything. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Really do appreciate Pop. And then my beautiful grandmother, Muddy, a beautiful, loving, kind woman, a seer. Oftentimes she can look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and their future. She still helps me to this day. Just an amazing, amazing woman. So proud of her, a beautiful, intelligent black woman. They talked about things that our rich black entertainers won't even talk about, which is reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. And then we have rich athletes and actors and entertainers. They say nothing. And then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful, beautiful person, a seer, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and then also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life, and also coached an all-boys baseball team in an all-men's league. She was the only black woman in California at that time to coach an all-boys baseball team to a championship. Give that praise. And she was also pro reparations. She also fed people, all colors of people. She started a food program and fed black people and white people and Hispanic people and Native American people. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, his side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, former pastor with 3 churches, had 2 gas stations that he owned in Oakland. But he also owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation. He was pro-reparations. And now you got people who have a lot more wealth than he had that won't even say anything. They just want you to come watch their movies, come to their concerts, and come watch them play with balls. Really do appreciate him. And then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, worked side by side with my granddaddy with the 3 churches and the 2 gas stations. But she touched me on my forehead. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway. I was on my way. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I felt someone touch me on my forehead. And she said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies?" I said, "What are you doing up at 10 o'clock at night? You normally go to bed. You normally go to bed at 8:30. But she said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." I remember that. Never forget it. And now I'm the only one speaking about reparations. A lot of our other black brethren, they're just afraid. I guess I get some older white ladies to team up with me. They'll get reparations passed for us, like Senator Warren. And she's going to get a letter from the National Black Wall Street Project. As co-chair, the Northern California branch, I'm going to get that letter out to her, ask her how can she get some of our athletes and entertainers to wake up and not be so afraid. What did Radio Raheem say? He said, "Wake up!" And Spike Lee's do the right thing. I hope that our men and women will start doing that. Who cares how many points you score in a game? And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, always making sure that planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. He also believed in reparations. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying go forward. Reparations leaders always saying go forward. And then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors from a major university. And she did it in 3.5 years. She set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. From there, we went on to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It never happened before. She also would help set up when college coaches came to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Congress and senators are trying to pass reparations for you. Daisy, it's going to happen. Your father's the only person in the universe that's championing that. You're going to benefit from it. Always trust God. Isaiah 50:17. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, singer, very smart, erudite, a good man. As I always tell you, trust God. Isaiah 50:17. That no weapon formed against him will prosper. Malcolm helped me. He helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and try to look up stats for the Big C Sports podcast. One day, Malcolm said, "Dad, why don't you just Google it?" And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now I'm on 29 applications. One day, Malcolm said, "Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV?" I said, "Sure." He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And shortly after that, it's on 4 TV platforms, streaming Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I love you with all I got, Malcolm. You can be anything you want to be. You're going to be a millionaire. Reparations is going to pass. It's right now in the House and the Senate. Don't be like most people just watching sports, wanting to get somebody's autograph. Love you with everything I got. And then Big C, all that wealth of knowledge over the years, like my great-granddaddy coming out of that barn always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe, let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. It's the nominated Big C Sports Podcast. And you know what time it is. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. Call Uber, call Lyft, walk it off, sleep it off. But don't get behind the wheel of a car after you've been drinking, and because the life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? I just am so free, I can't possibly be beat. Because listening to Big C Sports talk about reparations, I think that he is the greatest. He is the greatest. He is the greatest. No, Ali's the greatest. But I'm trying to get what I feel in my heart to honor what President Abraham Lincoln did. And now Senator Elizabeth Warren and many others. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever go through that garbage on their own. You know anybody going through it? Pick up the phone, call 911. Things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. Now we honor President Abraham Lincoln and some other members of Congress right now. We say reparations now, reparations forever. Say it like a team just won the game. Come on, NFL, NBA, listen up. Reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, all you movie stars and entertainers that want people to buy your tickets and come to your shows. Honor President Abraham Lincoln. Reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a super fantastic day.